welcome to JG's Fight Talk, sponsored by Rich's Boxing and Limitless Creations. And with me now, I've got James Hare. How you doing, James?
I'm good. Yeah. Once we got to the to get it all settled, I'm all right. I'm in one piece. I'm in decent shape and reasonable health, and we're okay.
Good. That sounds like you're on a comeback, mate.
Oh, night. No. I keep my hand in, but no. I mean, you get a bit carried away sometimes, but no. 100% not. Just keep doing a bit, keep my hand in.
Yeah.
It's like I say, I mean, I have actually been doing some sparring, and you keep getting a little reminder that we're only human and need you to think about life after boxing.
Do you still get the urge then, like when you're sparring and stuff? Do you still feel you've got that little bit of a flame there that says, "I can do this"?
A little tiny bit, but there's always something happens or thinks, hold on a minute, just makes you, bring you back down to earth a little bit, and just and I've never really I've not I think when we spoke briefly before, I might have been with Lake, but it's no. I mean, it's good to keep in shape and do a little bit. And we've done a little bit of lifespan, I think, but I'm not going to kid myself. It's just, you know what I mean. It's when you start, and especially when you start seeing what the guys are doing at top level, it's so dangerous. You know what I mean? You've got to look at what happened at the weekend. You know what I mean? I know you're talking about elite level, but
it happens, doesn't it? It happens.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we chat about your pro career, let's go right back to the start. When did it all begin for you? When did boxing sort of come into your life?
When I was about 10, 11 years old. My dad who's not from a boxing background or anything. I was with him one weekend on a little scotching job, sweeping up, helping, and one thing or other, and we were going to take you down to boxing club, which at the time was home champagnes, but it was more, during my time, it was Battling Dewsbury boxing club in West Yorkshire. And that's what happened. He took me down one Sunday morning, and that were it. I got the bug, and that were that. Right from being, I got carded up at 11, like a lot of these kids do, and stuck at it. Had a bit of a moment in my late teens, where, because when I say I wasn't very good, most of my best stuff were done in the gym. I was never really a blooming, especially as an amateur, you know what I mean? But then, like I say, I got to 15, 16, so like late junior level, and things, the rounds went from 2 minutes, from 1.5 minutes to 2, and then got to 3 minutes, and started performing and doing what I could do in the gym.
Yeah.
When it mattered, in championships and on boxing nights and stuff. That's when it started for me. Yeah, way back. I think I had my first bout in 1987, something like that.
I won't tell you what I was doing in 1987.
Well, you weren't around, were you?
I was one. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
It's fine. I think when I spoke to you previously, well, just to bring you up to speed, for the last 3 weeks I've been working with a just random, really. Our next door neighbour is a guy who was a joiner and one thing like that, and I ended up going to work, and I've been working, so the gyms have been closed, but they've just recently opened back up. So I'm going to have to try and find a little bit of a level now, because I was spending quite a bit of time down there volunteering with the amateurs.
Yeah.
But right in my current situation with what I'm doing, I'm not sure I can commit that much time. Maybe just try and find a balance.
Yeah.
Maybe you know, maybe on a Wednesday or something, and to go down. So yeah, I lost my chain of thought then. Lost my chain of thought. What? Yeah.
But like you were saying, you went from your amateurs, and then you started the pros in 1996.
Yeah. My first bout in '96. It were a bit of a weird one because so going back to the amateur days, so I had about my neck, about 100 or 101 amateur. I've not got my card to prove it because my last amateur fight were at a club called Sedberg. Me and the guy, well, sadly Keith, everything got sorted out in the end. He fortunately 2 years ago passed away. Keith, but he was very well. He did turn pro. He was a very decorated amateur boxer, and he did turn pro. But he was very well thought of as a coach and what he achieved. And the kids who come through, you can look back, and the amount of champions that's come through out from home champions, back then Dewsbury. Myself, Steve Conway, Mark Hobson. There's been numerous guys over the years, but like I said, my last amateur bout was with Sedberg, and unfortunately I lost that one. And I thought, you know what am I wasting my time for? Staying amateur, and I just went straight down to Ingalls. And I've been down there and been training, and I knew Ryan from the amateur scene, Ryan Rhodes. Naz were a couple of years older than me, but he was around. And with me being a mover and one thing and another, I sort of like gravitated towards that. But it wasn't the only place where I trained. I went over to Manchester. I was going over there quite regularly with a friend of mine, Pete Judson, who was training at the old Champions Camp, and Phil Martin was still alive. And then Phil Martin passed away, and then we were training at I think it was Harrison's gym. It was Oliver and Humphrey. They had a Thai boxing gym, and Steve Foster were training out of there. And Billy Graham was coming through, and Billy sort of like took off where Phil Martin left off from my memory. So I'd spent days going over there training with Peter, and also been going up to Glasgow and training with some of Tom Gilmore's lads. Now, then I had my last amateur bout, hopefully going to try and get a decent final senior amateur campaign underway. And like I say, I got beat off a kid called Carl Wall from Gemini, good lad. Boxed with him on the England squads before, and then like I say, I got stopped on his own show, and it shouldn't have been a stoppage. But anyway, I just thought, why am I wasting my time doing this? And I went down and I turned pro, and I had my first fight in January, so like a little bit earlier on. That my last amateur bout was in like October, November time, and then I think I boxed in the January the following year.
That's quite a quick turnaround, isn't it? That's quite a quick turnaround from amateur to pro.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, Joe, it were a bit too quick. You know what I mean? Because at 19 years old, I'd had lots of junior experience, but I've been sparring with pros, but like I said, my best stuff were all done in gym. Whether that's a mental thing, a confidence thing, or whatever, who knows? But maybe I could have stuck out and held back. Maybe gone into ABAs, and maybe because Carl Wall won the ABAs that year, won the senior ABA title. The following year, he got beat by a certain guy called Richard Hatton in the Northwest Counties. The following year, you know what I mean. So we're talking top level lads. But like I say, I turned pro, and that was my journey. Then started back there.
What advice, James, would you give any youngsters coming from that amateur game, stepping up into the pros, say 16, 17, 18? What advice would you give them? Like, if you had to look back at yourself back now, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, blooming heck. yeah, don't rush. You know what? It's a tricky one, Joe, because people who are boxing, I've found over the years, sometimes can be reckless and risk takers. So don't often always take advice that, well, maybe I don't know. Some people might say I'm a little bit different to that. I don't know. I tried my best at school. I did okay at school. I didn't do as well as I could because I was challenging, putting everything into boxing. But I were also, I think, well, yeah, I also knew that there was gonna be a life after boxing,
Yeah,
and I'm still trying to find it, to be honest. I'll be honest, you know what I mean? I'm still trying to find it. I mean, me and my wife, you know, she's lived through it with us, and like we're married now, we've got children and stuff. We're never gonna have kids while ever I were boxing. You know what I mean? That's how strongly we felt about it.
yeah,
So yeah, so when you're going back to the advice thing, I don't know really. You've got to follow you've got to follow what's in there.
yeah,
But then, like, you know, have a little bit of I don't know, surround yourself by positive and realistic people. But sometimes you don't always know that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Especially at that age as well, isn't it? It's very difficult because you're
You
going to just
dynamite,
be led by
you?
whoever's around you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. You think you're bulletproof. You know, I mean, during my so I mean, well, from a professional point of view, so I turned pro in '96. Signed a 3-year contract. That's how Brennan used to do it. It's probably still the same. I'm not too sure. But then after 12 months into that 3-year contract, I signed another 3-year contract. You know what I mean?
So
So
that would
that
have been
time,
additional to your already contract.
basically, 12 months into a 3-year deal, I basically I signed another one. But that would just all that basically meant was it just goes for another 3 years. So it's effectively just extended what I already had
Yeah,
for another 2 months, basically.
yeah,
And then, but like in my first season as a pro, I think I had about in my first year, I think I had about 6 bouts, which is, you know, 4 threes. That's pretty much. I think it was 4 3, 6 threes. Now afterwards, once I signed that second thing, looking back, things did sort of like slow down for me. Now it might have helped a little bit, to be honest, because I spent a lot of time going sparring. Spent a lot of time in Denmark, actually. Spent a lot of time in London. I mean, and you basically on the road, and you get teamed up. Well, yeah, you basically go and you help out with different training camps as far as everybody. Shane Hare, Soren Sonnegaard, Dennis Holbeck, Gary Jacobs. You know, that's, you know, and it's good because you basically do it and fiddling around and getting involved in their training camps, and well, yeah, and getting a bit, well, yeah, you get paid for it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so that's, I learned my trade a little bit there, but then so like during things sort of like really slowed down, and obviously, and like Brendan had lots of Dominic will come in more into the fray then. He started off as a trainer back when, and things were all getting a bit frosty with Nassim Hamed and everything, and you know, and I thought to myself, Jonathan, are you going to be boxing then? And I thought, you start working things out in your own mind. I don't think I will be, because you've got the gym was packed.
yeah,
The gym was packed with licensed pros, and there's these shows going on, and I thought, yeah, things just didn't sort of like work, and I was sort of like, we're falling out of love with the game, to be honest. And and then yeah, I thought, yeah, I think coming up to me when my contract was coming up to during to expire, I thought, I need a change. I need a change, and then I did. I did it like it wouldn't expire in John at the time, he was ringing us and saying, "No, what we're going to do? We've got this, got that." And I just let everything run. And I think from October '99, which I had my last. That's when I got a draw with Mark Winters in Telford, and I think Richie Woodall books on that show. I don't think when he got beat off Calzaghe, but Richie Woodall boxed on that show anyway. Anyway, I boxed a draw against Mark Winters. After 2 rounds, I was absolutely just gone. There was nothing in it. I was the lightest that I'd weighed, at 10 stone 3. And I'd done it twice on this water diet. One time it had worked, and I felt strong as an ox. Not as strong as an ox, but I felt fresh and sharp. But against Mark, after 2 rounds, I felt like I had nothing. And then obviously I boxed a draw, and then that was my last bout I had with the Ingles. And then 12 months later, I during that 12-month period, I'd sort of like had a bit of time off, done a bit of work, and then got training back with a group. Well, Pete Cullen was helping a guy called Chris Astor, who at that point were like a young trainer manager, but I'd also had previous experience with him when I was at Keith, because he got involved in pro boxing late on in his career, because he was like a martial arts background. And I started training at a gym in Bradford, at Wibsey, and that's when I signed with Tommy Gilmore and fell back in love with boxing again. Yeah.
Just what a career you had, James. 37 fights, 33 wins, 1 draw, 19 knockouts. Do you look back and do you think I had a really good career, or do you look back and think I could have done more? I get that from a lot of boxers.
Yeah. Well, I ain't going to be any different. I probably could have done. I mean, I'd really love to be able to sit here and as a former British champion. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Wasn't.
James, look at what you won though. You won an EBU European. You won Commonwealth. You won WBF World Welter.
Yeah.
Don't be too greedy, mate.
No. You forget sometimes, mate.
But I know what you mean, because the British is one of those titles, isn't it, where it's so prestigious, isn't it? And
the prestige.
It's one you want, isn't it? You're desperate to have.
Yeah, and like I say, it didn't work out for me. You know what I mean? And it's I tried. You know what I mean? But then also, like so when you mentioned about looking back, it's one of them really. We all make choices and we do stuff. I tried my best at none of that. Now, I also know that probably not the same or the right sort of character. I mean, those 37 bouts you talked about, and then that previous 100 amateur fights I had, there was only one that I had that I was no nerves, and that was my first amateur bout. Everyone after that, I went into that ring as an underdog in my head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like nothing to. Now, you could argue, somebody else could argue, you know what I mean? It's the wrong mental attitude. If you know what I mean.
Everyone's different, aren't they? Everyone's got a different approach. You get some people that go into every fight nervous. You get some people that are cocky. You get some people that they've all got different mindsets. So no mindset's wrong, is it? It's just how you are.
That's it. Yeah. That's exactly right. I mean, I've been listening to them a little bit of the stuff. Obviously, just bringing up the Billy Joe Saunders and Alvarez match at the weekend, and like I said, I aren't big on social media, but I do have a little Twitter thing, and this is I watch little stuff. And the Billy Joe Saunders, I mean, I don't know the guy. I don't know him. And you know, I know I've been around traveling lads through boxing, and there's some real characters, and some people are all right with it. Some people are people up the wrong way. For me, I've never met Billy Joe Saunders, but I don't know. I find some of his antics funny, but then it's like, oh, it's close to blow.
Yeah,
Close to blow. Looking how he behaved in the build up to this, it's just something that he does in order to.
It's a mind thing. It's like a psychological. You look at, you can go back, you know, when you look at Tyson Fury when he fought Klitschko and he turned up as Batman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No one else could do it for starters, but it's all this, and to me, that's where he beat Klitschko.
Yeah. I mean, who in the right mind? I mean, the bout with Klitschko and Fury, it never. We were up until about a week before when they were saying, "Oh, we are boxing on that. We're not boxing on that canvas. It's like 2 inch or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's yourself. It's like going running on a beach. So if you're boxing a mover, which that's what Tyson is, a natural born mover.
Yeah.
You know, then you're gonna get some sponge under the canvas and zap his legs. And he said, "Oh no, we're not boxing on that." And they aren't bothered, have they? They're just absolutely
But you think
100% not.
it's the cheek of it, because Tyson's gone over to Germany, basically in the backyard of Klitschko, and gone, "That's not right. I'm not doing that. That's not right." And he was talking like he was champion, and in the mindset, he was already champion, and Klitschko had almost gone, "Well, yeah, he is." Do you know what I mean? You could see it in his movement and the way he got the fight was brilliant.
I backed him. I backed him, Fury, that day, and people said, "No, he's no chance." I said, "I'm telling you, if he turns up with the right mindset, tell him if there's anybody that could do it, it's him."
Yeah,
because they're just characters.
And how much money did you put on it, James?
Well, it would have been more, 20 quid. 20 quid. Nothing. And you know what I did on Saturday? Me and a mate of mine, we backed the draw. We backed the draw.
My mate did.
Because and that were 20-1, and I just thought, if it's close, he ain't gonna get it. If he really, because he's not been active enough. Yeah. Now, but again, he could really turn up and if the same kid had turned up, will beat the Canadian kid. But I know when Canelo looks like, I mean, I've just seen a little bit of footage.
Oh, he's an animal.
He's going through the gears in 8th round.
Yeah, and he weren't even in top gear. That's the scary thing. He wasn't even in his in 5th or 6th gear. He was sitting there in 3rd, 4th.
I've not actually watched it all, and I will if I'm genuinely interested in the match, Joel. But I mean, and you might do this yourself. I don't know, but then turn the volume off in between rounds. Just watch it. Turn the commentary off. Score each round, and then, like I say, if you're interested, put it on in between or whatever else. But you know, I've been led to believe that Billy Joe Saunders actually doing okay and boxing into it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, he just shifted up some gears, rattled some punches off him. Poor lad's got a blooming fractured eye socket, hasn't he?
Yeah, we do live watch-alongs for most of the fights. So what we do is, me and my friend, we turn the volume off and we'll commentate on what we see. And I tell you, and I do the same as you, I'll then watch it afterwards, and it's like a different fight. It's like listening to it on the radio. You've got so many different comparisons, but you know, it's one of those. But you know, as I say, back to you. You know, and I've spoken to a lot of boxers, and they pretty much say the same as you. Like I spoke to Ishan Pickering.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I've
yeah.
spoken to Nicky Cook,
Okay. Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and and they all, you know, even Wayne Alexander. Uh,
yeah,
you know, some of the bigger names from, I say back in the day, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and they all say the same thing. Yeah, I could have done this. I could have done that. And I think, what are you
It's
talking
just how you cook.
about?
It's just how your cookie crumbles. It's all part of your journey.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, I'm all right. I
yeah.
did, you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Like I say, I won that Commonwealth title. A fantastic night in Huddersfield. And bumming, and to be fair, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a really, really good night. I remember one thing I remember getting there, and bumming my stablemate Mark, he boxed an eliminator for British title against a kid from Lincoln called Lee Swaber. And bumming, I think he'd been down. He were down 2 or 3 times. It's all like inside first 3 or 4 rounds. But then he came on. He came on at back end after 5, 6, 7, 8, and sort of like, and he won. He sort of like, and he just sort of like had a bit of a positive vibe around. You know what I mean? You know. And I tell you another kid, yeah. I mean, Steve Robinson had his last boxing match on that show. You know, the former world champ, and I didn't realise it was Steve Lillis who mentioned something out to a reporter from Dewsbury. And I followed him. What was it about? Steve Conway beat Steve Robinson, and I didn't realise that was his last boxing match. You know what I mean? And at Huddersfield, you know, the old sports centre there now, it's like it's gone. It's been pulled down. Yeah, so
But
yeah,
you,
but that's some good
in,
nights.
in in your career, you smashed it in 18 months. When you
Yeah,
actually break it down, in an 18
yeah,
month period, you
yeah,
won the European, the
yeah,
Commonwealth, and a world
yeah.
title in 18 months.
Yeah, good night.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I never looked at it like that, to be honest. So I boxed in January.
So it
I
was
beat that.
January 2002 when you went
Yeah,
against my.
January 2001. Then April 2002, I beat Julian Holland, and then oh yeah, and then the following year in the June 2003, that's when I boxed that Ukrainian kid. So that's 18 months, yeah.
Yeah,
But it did. Look, I mean, listen, Joe. Everybody said this to me. You know, it was too much because then what happened then? I did a. It was what happened after when I beat Zuma. I had like a couple of weeks off, and then I did a 3-fight deal then, and I defended against Jan Bergman, which was Jan Bergman was past his best. He could still dig a bit, but he was past his best. You know what I mean? And then but anyway, I got that done early doors. But with the training camp were there, and then I boxed again 6 weeks later against an Hungarian kid who were, you know, European level guy, and that were like quite a tough fight. That I stopped him at 10th, and then I should have called it a day then because I was done. But I'd already sort of like agreed to box again. You know what I mean? But I shouldn't have done. I should have been stronger, or somebody else around me should have been stronger, or I should have been stronger instead. Because there were nothing in the gym, and right up until we didn't even know we were boxing. Up until well, yeah, 10 days before we didn't know we were boxing. We on the posters it was a French kid, Mustafa Bilzad or something. But like I said, yeah, Cosme Rivera came over live, and I'm, you know what I mean? And yeah, couldn't do it with him. Could see everything he was doing, but couldn't react, couldn't do anything.
yeah,
Like I said, just got stopped in 10. Well, got referee pulled us out, I think. Chris might have thrown a towel in, sure. You know what I mean? But but again, that's bad management, is that? But I didn't stand up for myself. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
But like I say, you know, such a modest guy, and what a career, because there's a lot of people that come into the sport. I know you say, you know, about the British, but there's a lot of people come into the sport and they don't even touch any of those titles.
Yeah, well,
And you know, in that space of time as well, you know, like we're saying, you surprised yourself there. You know, to do it in 18 months is
I didn't
like a
realise
fast track, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't realise that. 18 months. Because a lot of people, when I bump into them, you know, and you haven't seen him for ages. Oh, do you remember that time? Blah, blah, blah. You had too many fights. You had too many fights. And there were a period where I think there were 7 title fights in a shorter period than 18 months. You know what I mean? Because obviously, yeah. So there were European, Commonwealth, 3 defences. That's 5. I did an 8-rounder in between in Leeds. And then, like I said, then it were Zuman, Bergman, Matolsky, and then, yeah, we're a lot. Yeah, we're a lot in this. Yeah.
But honestly, James, I think you're quality, mate, and you don't give yourself any credit. And yeah, what a top bloke, you know, a 10-year career, and you've had 37 fights and you've won 3 titles. I'll tap my hat off to you, mate.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. It's like started off slow at Ingles. You know what I mean? And then, but like I say, I spent a lot of time going on road sparring. And yeah. I suppose it's something never really like when I finished and everything. Well, like I say, when I had my last bout down at Bethnal Green, and I thought, oh, yeah, I'm done here. I've had enough. Well, I got buzzed in first or second round, and I can remember thinking, what am I doing here? That's what I thought went through my mind. What am I doing? And like just a 6-rounder, saying just a 6-round. It was supposed I want a 6-round boxer, and then I've been a championship. You know what I mean? And then I'm having to hustle around. So after losing to British, I think I had 4 fights in 2 years, and I were in gym. I were in gym all the time, and then you approaching 30, you start thinking, what am I going to do after boxing?
Yeah.
Start thinking, you know what I mean? I wasn't quite sure. I'd earned a little bit of summer. I got a roof over our head,
Yeah.
but I've not smashed it with purses or anything like that. You know what I mean? And I was going to have to earn a living after boxing, you know. And that's what started creeping into my mind as well. So maybe you take the eye off the ball a bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough. But like I said, you've spoke to many people now. It's a hard game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a hard game.
Well, as I say, I think you're a real humble guy, and what you've achieved, James, I think a lot. You know, you go down in history. People can't take that away from you, mate. And yeah, hats off to you.
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah, it's down in it. Commonwealth. I mean, I never lost. You know, I was undefeated Commonwealth champion. So that's I never lost it in ring. You know what I mean? So that I could that. Yeah, I can take that. That's a good one, isn't it?
I like how you just kind of, James, you're just so. I could talk to you for hours, mate. You just make, you know, you make me laugh inside. You're just so humble and so chilled out. But honestly, like, you know, as I say, I've spoken to a lot of people, and they do come out with the same sort of stuff. And there's people that never got the British. You know, I spoke to Richard Williams, and I think he never got the British. It was the Commonwealth he got, and it's kind of along those lines. He said, always wanted the British, but hey, I'm not going to get hung up.
He's involved in boxing though, isn't he now? I believe.
Yeah, he's got a gym. I was down there the other day.
Right. I mean, pass me regards on Joe. I mean, look, I mean, I remember, so my transition from Sheffield, sort of like, which were the Sheffield boxers are the sort of like the upper end of the level there. They were managed by Frank Warren, but Brendan had a stable of, he had a large stable, had all sorts who used to go out on the road and boxing everywhere. And then when I sort of like ended up back training where I were training, there were mainly matchroom boxers who Tommy were, because at that point I think matchroom sport, or the boxing section of matchroom, only accounted for about 20% what matchroom was as a brand.
Yeah.
And then like we knew a bloke who was a matchmaker who was just coming to the end of his career called Graham Lockwood. And I can always remember him talking about Richard Williams. So he'd obviously heard a lot. There were some, I think there were a lot on his shoulders. There were a lot expected of him, Richard. I think obviously people have seen him in the gym. He's obviously sparred all the best guys and stuff. A lot of, and I mean, he boxed that night. I boxed Zuman. Richard Williams boxed a certain Sergio Martinez. You know what I mean? From Argentina via Spain, and it's like, look what he went on to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Richard were expected to win that. He come over. They brought, Sergio had come over to box Richard and not make the numbers up, but it was a bit of a shock, I think, from team matchroom, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I always remember because we stayed in the Midland Hotel in Manchester, and I can remember Sergio on a call box, phoning home, telling what's has happened. I just remember you high as a kite. You know what I mean? I were back in there like, wow, this was the first time I'd done 12 rounds. Boxed well, people saying good things, blah 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 blah. And then but obviously Sergio went on, and I mean, he had a fantastic career, didn't he? And I think Richard boxed Sergio again. I think he did. I think he boxed him twice, and then Sergio sort of like elevated himself after that first match. And where did he? And he ended up box office, didn't he? You know. So yeah, but I never sparred with Richard. I sparred with Steve Roberts.
Do you know what? I can beat you on that one. I sparred Richard the other week. I went to his gym and had a sparring session with him, and he was obviously at like 10%, where I was basically blowing out my ass.
He was just taking care of business and just watching what we were doing.
Yeah. But no, as I say, James, I think you're a quality act to follow, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. And
yeah, brilliant.
As I say, you keep looking back at that career, and look at what you achieved. Look at what you achieved. That's something real special.
Yeah, that's it. It's interesting a little bit because my eldest, she's like, oh, she's only 9, well, she'll be 10 next month. I'll say only 9, not going on 90.
Mate, I know the feeling.
And they're like, oh, the look and stuff on YouTube. There's a couple of bouts up there. They're watching stuff. Oh, Dad, you're like, you were famous. Like, no. I was known in boxing circles a bit. I weren't what I might have been locally a little bit famous, just like where we lived and stuff. So, no, but yeah, you were. Like, no, but now it won't like that. It won't like that at all. But because they see something on a screen, I think, oh wow. You know what I mean?
Honestly, James, take the credit, mate. Take the credit, because if your kids are looking at you thinking, wow, my dad's a superhero, or my dad's a sportsman, he's a hero, take it, mate, because it don't last.
Yeah. And I know lots of people have also said, Yeah.
But no, honestly, oh, exactly. But honestly, James, real pleasure having you on, and
Great to be a part of it. Yeah, good.
and keep in touch, won't you? And I'm going to link you up with Richard.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I say, I mean, we've met and sort of like at weigh-ins and stuff, but weigh-ins, there's a lot of, usually quite a little bit of tension when I get on scales, when I get sorted, one thing or other. Like I said, I've been down and sparred and trained. It was Steve Roberts though who I was training with, and that were at a Romford gym, and I never sort of like, I never. You've obviously, well, yeah, you never had a move around with it, but I was, it's a very special time boxing on that show. I mean, I think it were. I don't know. I think Richard might have been billed as main event, I suppose. But oh no, Michael Brodie. Michael Brodie was the Manchester kid. He was the sort of like main event, and then we had like myself, Richard, a Hungarian kid, and some other local lads on, who were always just trying to make the numbers up, But it were a really bizarre thing because they weren't the MAN's a big booming place, and if you hadn't got somebody in there selling, I mean, I took about 400 over, and I were one of bigger ticket sellers.
Yeah.
And then but but it was special night, yeah.
No, I'm going to make it happen. I'll make it happen. I'll phone you after this, and I'll get you on to Richard.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, mate, thank you for your time. And
No, that's brilliant, Joe. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
And as I say, keep in touch. And I expect to hear get some texts when the big fights are on. You telling me what give me some idea what's happening.
Well, thing is, like I think it was a few weeks ago when I lost track. You see, we've been in Denmark now about a year. Now, when we came over here in June, didn't Denzel Bentley box Mark Effer and we boxed a draw?
Yeah, and then he boxed him again.
And obviously Denzel must have. I don't know what happened in that. I don't. Did he win on points?
Denzel outboxed him, used the jab really well, damaged the eye badly, and the eye was like an egg. So they stopped the fight. Denzel won the British, and then he boxed Felix Cash a couple of weeks ago. And lost.
Yeah.
Were you messing? I think first or second round.
It was early. No, it was about from memory. I think it was about the third or fourth.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah. But it just seemed he seemed to blooming, like I say, you messaged me, and then it was the following day when I watched it.
Yeah.
And he just seemed to.
Felix just flew out the block. Just flew out the block. There was nothing. He couldn't get his range. He couldn't get his rhythm, and he just. So Felix Cash is now Commonwealth and British, so he's done well there.
Don't think. I mean, listen, he might. Because of that win, he might sort of like elevate himself again.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I don't think you could start talking about like Salim Williams and people like that.
No.
I don't. No, I don't think so. I think that's a different level for me.
There's big fights ahead, mate. There'll be many text messages coming your way. Don't you worry about it.
Well, listen, if I can, like I say, I'm not. My finger's not quite just on the pulse, but I'm still in touch with a couple of people and that. So yeah, if there is out, then. But I just need a day or two before.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll give you a heads up.
I need a day or two before, but it's tricky, isn't it? Because I said to you about that lad, that cut man, Ed. I don't know his name, but he must work out at Peacock. A big West Ham fan, and he really rated him. He really rated that Denzel Bentley. And he is awkward, a really awkward, sort of like spidery style. You know what I mean? But Cash is he just seemed to have measure of him.
Yeah.
He didn't really. He got inside his arms, his range, and didn't. So you know, and then like I said, yeah, it was a good performance. Good performance. Yeah.
No, we'll have many more to talk about, and yeah, there's, as I say, some great fights. Before we go, I'm going to chuck one at you, and it's a quick answer, and it's not. We don't have fence sitters on this show, James. I want to make that clear.
I've been guilty of that in the past.
Well, it's not happening now, mate.
Yeah.
James, AJ, Fury. Who wins and how?
Yeah. Fury wins. Fury wins stoppage.
Okay. No.
Fury wins TKO. Mid rounds, mid rounds, mid to late rounds. Yeah.
Well, I can't get any. I didn't think you were going to give it that quick, but fair enough, mate. But yeah.
Yes, mate. Yes, and that's what I'll go for. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll hold you to that, James. I'm going to hold you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll stick with it. Listen, is AJ capable? Of course he is. But I'm going to go if Mr. Fury turns up with a proper head and yeah, and live about him, then for me, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much, James Hare. 37 fights, 33 wins, 1 draw, 19 knockouts. European, Commonwealth, and World Champion. Take that for an exit.
All right, buddy. Nice one.
No worries. Take care, James, and love to the family. Yeah, right, definitely keep in touch, mate.
See ya.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Bye. James Hare, what a star. European, Commonwealth, and World Champion. 37 fights, 33 wins, 1 draw, 19 knockouts. What a bloke. And he just so modest, and yeah, you know, what an achievement. And yeah, love to James and his family. Top bloke, really one of the nicest guys from boxing. So if you've liked what you've seen today, go over to YouTube, hit JG's Fight Talk, hit that subscribe button, check out the rest of the content, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you.